Hey guys, I can't believe it's Wednesday again. It seems like we were just together last week. Well, that's because it was last week and this is this week, and I'm glad you have tuned in tonight. Again, share tonight. Let people know what's going on. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I encourage you to do, because I think the subject we're talking about tonight is a very important subject. We're going to continue looking in the book of Proverbs, and we're going to focus on the subject of friendship. Friendship. I think we would agree that friendship is important. It's important for us to choose the right friends, and it's important for us to be the right kind of friend. Now, there's a difference between friends and acquaintances. In life, we will have hundreds of acquaintances, but we are blessed if we have 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe really good, close friends. I have acquaintances around the world, people that I can have coffee with or play golf with or have a meal with, but I only have a handful of friends that I feel really that I can trust and add value to my life in the area of friendship. Here at New Life, we have a saying, and it goes something like this: God never intended for us to do life alone. He never intended for us to do life alone, to be an island unto ourselves. He created us with the need to have friends and to be good friends. So tonight I want us to look at what friendship really looks like, how it's really portrayed by Solomon in the book of Proverbs, all right? So first of all, let's talk about the foundation of friendship. Foundations are important. You can't have a building that lasts for any length of time if you don't have a solid foundation. And every relationship in life that's going to last and endure must have a strong foundation. And Solomon talks about the foundation of friendship, and it's really threefold. First of all, it is love. In Proverbs chapter 17, verse number 17, he tells us a friend loves at all times. A friend loves at all times. Friendship is really built on love. I believe love is the most powerful force in the universe. We know that God is love, and we know that Paul said love never fails. In fact, when Paul talks about love in the book of Corinthians, he talks about the characteristics of love, because when love is a foundation for friendship, it adds so many positive characteristics. For instance, he says that love is patient, love is kind, love is long-suffering. He talks about love never being arrogant, talks about love holding no grudges. He talks about love never quitting. That's the kind of love that anchors friendship. So love is a part of that foundation. And then he talks about loyalty. Again in chapter 17, verse 17, the latter part of that verse, and a brother is born for adversity. You see, friends are there when things get difficult. They're not just friends to us when everything's going good and everybody's happy, but when you fall on hard times, when you go through a difficult season in your life, that's where your real friends show their true friendship. We're not talking about fair-weathered friends. We're not talking about people that run away from you when you mess up, or run away from you when you fall flat on your face, or run away from you when you do something wrong. He tells us that a brother or a true friend is born for adversity. They will stick with you through thick and thin. And then sacrifice. I think sacrifice is a very important aspect or a key foundational stone of real friendship. And when you think about sacrifice and you think about friendship, you have to think about Jesus. In John chapter 15 in the New Testament, John chapter 15, verse number 13, there is no greater love. This is Jesus talking. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for his friends. Now keep in mind, he's talking to his disciples, and he is talking about himself. And he is telling them, and I believe he's telling us even today, that there's no way to demonstrate any greater love for a friend than your willingness to lay down your life. So Jesus really modeled true friendship. He was the personification of true friendship. And when you think about the friendship that he modeled and demonstrated, it involved his love, it involved his loyalty, and it involved his willingness to sacrifice. So again, relationships and acquaintances are one thing, but true friends will love you, they will be loyal to you, and they will be willing to sacrifice for you. We all need acquaintances. I'm grateful for every acquaintance I have in my life, but I'm particularly thankful for those people that I consider to be my true friends. And then the importance of friendships. As we know, Solomon wrote the book of Proverbs, but he also wrote Ecclesiastes. And I want us to look in Ecclesiastes tonight in chapter 4 because I think he gives us a really good word picture of what friendship looks like. So Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse number 9. Two people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, two people lying close together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. Notice what he said. Two are better than one. Again, I think that solidifies the principle that we are created for relationship, that we need relationship. We need real friends in our life that add value to our life. It is an intrinsic need for each and every one of us. So here's what he tells us in verse 9. The importance of friendship is because they help us succeed. They help us succeed. You can't succeed in life without the assistance of other people. I don't care how talented you are, how gifted you are, how charismatic you might be, you need other people to get you to the next level. Bill Gates is not a success just because of Bill Gates. LeBron James is not a success just because of his incredible talent. It takes other people in our life to take us to another level of success. And that's why so oftentimes when you hear a professional athlete who perhaps has won an award will say, I want to thank my friends and my family, those that are the closest to me, those that are in my circle that have helped me attain this award and reach the level of success that I've had. So true friends will always lift us to another level of success and productivity in our life. Verse 10, he said they support us. They support us. In other words, friends help us walk through life. Now remember, Solomon is writing this in biblical times, so we have to think about people traveling in biblical times. We know that they didn't have sidewalks. We know that they didn't have superhighways. They had to walk almost everywhere they went. And I was in Israel in February of this year, and I can tell you that some of the terrain that you walk on in those mountains and those hillsides is very rocky, very difficult. It's, a side hill. There are holes. You have to be careful where you're walking. And it's always helpful if you have another set of eyes on the situation. In other words, when you're walking alone in life, you can step into a hole, you can trip, you can fall, you can wander off on the wrong path. Solomon tells us that friends are there to support us. So if we trip and fall, a friend is there to reach out and pick us up. That's what true friends do. They don't turn their back on us when we fall. They reach out and lift us back up. So friendships are important because they support us. And then in verse 11, he tells us that they comfort us. Again, talking about biblical times. He's talking about when you're out traveling and it's cold. And it does get cold in the Middle East. When it gets cold, if you're by yourself, you could potentially freeze to death. But if you have someone with you, you can lie together. You can share the same blanket together. And the warmth of one another's body can oftentimes keep you alive. We've all read stories, or we've seen stories reported on the news where people were out hiking and got lost and spent several days in the wilderness or in a state park before they were found. And they would report that one of the ways they survived was lying together, covering up with the same blanket, getting into the same sleeping bag, because that provides warmth. And many times the warmth of friendship is what comforts us and helps us survive. And then in verse 12, they fight for us. Again, the context of biblical times. We know that in biblical times there were animals that would attack. We know that thieves would attack, robbers would attack people as they're out wandering or walking, traveling in the wilderness. In fact, that's the story of the Good Samaritan, as somebody beat a man up and the Samaritan found him. So when we're traveling in life, we need friends traveling with us, because he tells us that they have our back. They stand back to back and they fight together. In fact, he said friends can stand back to back, and when you have a friend that stands with you, you can conquer just about any enemy. Let's be honest. Sometimes people attack our character. Sometimes people attack our reputation. We talked the last couple of weeks about the words that come out of our mouth. Sometimes people gossip about us. And a real friend will stand up for you. A real friend will defend you. I've had people say to me before, Pastor, I would never talk behind your back. My response is, I appreciate that very much. But let me ask you a question. If someone else were talking behind my back, would you defend me? Or would you sit there and let them go on? Would you defend me, or would you separate yourself from the conversation? You see, that's the difference between an acquaintance and a friend. Because a friend will have your back. A friend will stand up for you. So if you have friends in your life, 3, 5, 10, however many friends, real friends that you have, you need to count yourself blessed. People that will pray for you, people that will stand up for you, people that will walk with you through the most difficult situations of life, people that will provide comfort and encouragement to you. You know, it's kind of like the two guys that were out camping, and this is the difference between an acquaintance and a friend. Two guys are out camping, and they get in their tent, they go to bed, they wake up in the morning to this rustling outside the tent. And they're hearing this growling and this scratching on the tent, and they realize that a grizzly bear is outside. And it's just a matter of time before the grizzly bear destroys the tent and gets them. So the one guy jumps up and he starts putting on his shoes and tying his shoes. The fellow with him said, "What are you doing? Why are you tying your shoes? You can't outrun a bear." He said, "Dude, I don't need to outrun the bear. I just need to outrun you." That's not a friend. That's an acquaintance. Hey, we need real friends in our life. And then in verse 12, Solomon caps it off with this: a triple braided cord is not easily broken. I thought about that many times. Is he talking about 3 friends? Perhaps. Or is he maybe talking about you, your friend, and Jesus? In other words, when we have Jesus in our life, and Jesus is a part or the core of our friendship, it is a cord that cannot be broken. Jesus is the real glue that holds friendships together. Jesus needs to be the center of our life and the center of all of our friendships. So I hope that after tonight that you and I really evaluate who the real friends in our life are. But it's not just about people being a friend to us. It's about us being a good friend to someone else. So let's do our very best. Let's be like Jesus. Let's truly love people. Let's truly be loyal to people. And let's be willing to sacrifice for the friends in our life. I love you and I appreciate you, and I'll see you next week. God bless.